Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to, and this is an interesting bit of trivia, that this is the last meeting of the third year of our current term. So this is council meeting number 19 for Tuesday, October 28, 2025. I will call the meeting to order, recognizing that we meet on the traditional territory of the LHTAKO DENE Nation. Before we get to our presentation, I would like to get a motion from council to approve the agenda as circulated. Happily, there are no changes to the agenda. Councillor Goulet, Councillor Vic, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, now we go to adoption of the minutes of the regular meeting held October 21. Moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Rudenberg. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Now we get to the presentation, and today we have the honor of having some representatives of the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 94 to present myself as the mayor symbolically with the first poppy in this year's poppy campaign. So Legion members, if you would come forward, and I'm going to come around to the front and we're going to do the presentation. And have you got someone to take the picture? Okay, good. Carry on. Hold on, I got to turn this microphone off, otherwise we're good. One. Okay, yeah, one on each side.
Here's the presentation of the first official poppy for 2025. I'm going to shake your hand.
Thank you, thank you. Well done. Okay. Thank you for your service.
And let's give some out to the rest of the staff here.
I'll let you handle that, and I'll let you handle that because I've got to get back to work here, so thank you.
Thanks for the council looking out there.
Thank you very much.
I just brought this here because we're really carrying.
Thank you, Deb. Okay, thank you for that, and we'll move ahead with the agenda. We have no delegations. We have no items arising from previous special meetings. We have no unfinished business, but we do have three committee reports, 4 committee reports. So I'll go first to the Housing Committee Chair Summary. Councillor Elliott, you are up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and this is from the Housing Solutions meeting on October 8th. So basically, we're just going through a lot of OCP changes and working on that. So we received an update regarding developable lands. There was quite a number of lands in the city that are available to be developed, and we're ongoing with the review of the land use bylaws, official community plan, zoning bylaw, development application procedure bylaw, and short-term rental policy. So we're working through all of those things. One of the conversations that was quite interesting was South Quesnel and them having a desire to have residential properties on top of the commercial. It's not zoned for that right now, but we're taking all of this kind of input to get ready for the OCP. So listed there are the dates. So everyone should remember that we're opening up council chambers on October 30th. That's this Thursday, 2 p.m. till 7, and then council decided to extend the time that we're going to take information in from the community. So that's going to start on the 30th and go for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. Besides that, we also received the homeless count for Quesnel and area. So I've enclosed the links. Anybody can click in there and see it's pretty much unchanged. It's pretty close to what it was before. So there's a schedule for the OCP on there as well. And I'd like to see as many people as possible get involved in this. It's extremely important, and Director Turner and others are working very, very hard on this. So that's the report, just for information only.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Elliott. Does anyone have any questions before I move on to the next item of business? Seeing none, I will go to the October 15 Financial Sustainability and Audit Committee report from Councillor Vic.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, we had a busy meeting on the 15th. Some of it will be coming later on tonight. Director Bolton has a report on our comprehensive fees bylaw. So that was the first thing we discussed. Very high level, quickly. The garbage fees are being held at the rates that were last year, and things like water and sewer are rising nominally in line with inflation, but there'll be more details when Director Bolton delivers her report. My recommendation is for reference only. We discussed the tax trending stats. We received the latest statistics published by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing. Each year we take a look at these and reflect on them. The city's residential taxation remains below average. Our commercial taxation burden remains above average, but slightly improved from last year. And we continue to rely heavily, as we all know, on our industrial taxation, which is over 50% of our total taxation, and we are currently number 4 in the province. We turned our attention to property insurance for the city. The committee is asking that we recommend to council that our insurance go out for an RFP in early 2026. Our rates have steadily increased since 2019 by over 50%. Some of these increases are explained by the addition of new assets, such as our public works building, but in the spirit of competitiveness, we want to have a competitive process, which will ensure that we are getting the best value for ratepayers. Additionally, the city will also include ICBC insurance as an option embedded in the RFP. Currently, it's 2 separate types of insurance. We turned our attention to a request from the fire department. Due to growing call volumes, growing service area demands, and the need to improve response times and operational efficiency, the committee discussed adding a 5th squad vehicle to the fire fleet to be located at the Red Bluff Hall number 2. This vehicle is already in our possession. It's a 10-year-old truck from another department. We would normally put that to auction, but we will not. We will be deploying that vehicle to Red Bluff Hall number 2. We felt the fire chief's argument was sound, and the data suggests that this is needed. So there's a recommendation below. We then looked at our budget survey. Nothing really to report this evening other than we're talking about the timing and the details for that survey, and more will be coming. In terms of finance department update, nothing really to talk about other than this year there is no tax sales since all delinquent taxes were paid. The biggest thing, I guess, that we talked about was we got a letter from the SPCA notifying the city that they do not intend on renewing their kenneling contract with the city, which is about $59,000 in 2024. This is due to increasing demand for other services they provide related to education, animal cruelty, and increasing amounts of vulnerable animals. Staff will be investigating alternatives for this service. The SPCA has offered to come and meet with us to discuss the issue and a transition. We hope to have this meeting soon. So, this is a challenge for us as we need to have some measure of animal control in the community. So absolutely, as options are available or research, staff will report back to finance and then from finance to council. But definitely, it's a challenge. It'll be a challenge to try and have this service replaced. I do have a suggestion. I hope staff can take it back. Certainly, our dog tag program could get a lending hand here, and I think that in the absence of some manner of animal control, citizens can certainly lend a hand by helping one another get their dogs and pets to their right owners. To that end, I would suggest that when we send out our utility invoices this year in 2026, that we include a small flyer to remind people to get their pets licensed and to come and get a tag. If there is going to be a potential gap in service, then we're going to need to leverage all the help we can to make sure pets get to their rightful owners. I know there's active social media right now. When there's a lost pet, social media tends to light up, but in talking to the front desk, that we do have a system. If there is a pet that's found, the city has the record via the dog tag number, which correlates to an owner's phone number, so we can lend a hand to try and liberate pets, lost pets with their owners. So I don't know if that requires any other council direction there, but I think we should do that for the nominal cost to try and get people to get their pets licensed for sure. In terms of recommendations, the committee, we ratified a committee meeting schedule. Recommendation is below. So the first recommendation, that the Finance and Sustainability and Audit Committee recommends staff, this is pertaining to the comprehensive fee bylaw. That is only for reference. Second is regarding fire department squad vehicle fleet increases, that the Financial Sustainability and Audit Committee recommends that council approve the addition of a squad vehicle to the fire department fleet. I would make that motion.
Okay, and that is seconded by Councillor Elliott. Are we all in favor? Oh, Councillor Runge.
Might look like Rudenberg, but it's Runge. I just have a yeah, thank you. I just have a question with regards to this vehicle, because this is actually has financial implications going forward. So it actually is a budget item, and it's not about not doing this. But is this vehicle so it's coming from City Works? City Works vehicle is going to be replaced? So that means we actually have an extra vehicle going into our budget. I actually don't think this is I think we need to do this right now in the interim, but this is actually a budget discussion. It's a $100,000 discussion going forward. I think to slide it in like this, although it's valid and it maybe is something we should be doing, should be actually in our whole budget discussion with everything. It's temporary, no problem. But going forward, we're actually making a decision here with this recommendation that that's going to go forward into the future. And so I would be absolutely in favor of moving it temporarily into going forward. But as a budget item, when we say yes to this, we're saying yes to this going forward 5 years from now, or 2 years if something happens to the vehicle from now. So. Yeah, I guess that's my comment here, and I just think this should be in a budget discussion, not coming through as a recommendation that we just move it over there and add a cost to us.
Okay, before I go to Councillor Rudenberg, are you requiring or asking for a change to any resolution that's coming forth here?
Yes, I am. Because we have to. Well, I guess. It's a recommendation. I agree with the recommendation. We need a vehicle. I disagree that I think this is a budget discussion. So we have, for me, I have two different things here. I have, yes, move this vehicle right now if we need to help out temporarily for a year, but there's no guarantee that we can fund this going forward. That isn't in this recommendation.
Okay, I understand that, but there have been previous occasions when we have passed a resolution that is pre-budget, and sometimes it has to do with, I'm trying to think of the word, there's special items there that need to be done like before the budget is adopted. Can you help? I'm going to come to you, but is there anything you want to add here, Councillor Vic?
Well, regarding the budget implications, there is no budget required for the balance of this fiscal year. Any there is no cost to take this vehicle. So as part of our fleet policy, this vehicle is getting replaced anyways. Now, we may choose to open up fleet policy during budget deliberations, and that's certainly council's purview to do that. But this vehicle is being replaced. Instead of selling it at auction, or I'm not sure what other processes beyond auction there would be, but this is going to be used by our fire department. So in terms of ongoing cost, we have an insurance cost and maintenance. So for this balance of this fiscal year, or for this budget, there is no implications.
Okay, I'm going to come back to you, Councillor Runge, but I'm going to go to Councillor Rudenberg first.
Thank you, because I just needed some clarification from Councillor Runge when he said $100,000 implication. Can you explain what you meant by that number?
Sure. To replace a truck nowadays is in between, what, 70 and 100,000, depending if it's a 3/4 ton. We're looking at 125,000 for a new truck. This truck will now sit in another fire department. It will have to be replaced into the future. Therefore, it is a budget item. We just are sliding it in early. We have a fleet policy that says X number of vehicles in this. Instead of selling a vehicle and replacing one, we're keeping a vehicle to be replaced later, and we're getting another vehicle. That's where I stand. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm going to go to our finance person here. Will that be the case because we are moving this vehicle from, I was thinking that maybe this vehicle was somewhat excess and that we could do that, but from what Councillor Runge is saying, that would perpetrate the need to put a call out for a new vehicle?
At this point, we don't need a new vehicle, but the reason the report went to FSAC is we're not allowed to add to the fleet without getting council approval, so that's why this is coming here, so that we are adding to the fleet. We're saving this at this particular time because it's an older vehicle that we're transferring over, but we are adding a vehicle to the fleet that will have to be replaced in the future, right?
Okay, but
Yeah.
again, as Councillor Vick has alluded, we can foresee a discussion coming up at FSAC and then through to council that there may be some changes to the fleet acquisition policy. So my recommendation is that we let this move ahead and await those discussions at FSAC and at council regarding the future disposition of the fleet policy. Councillor Vick.
I hear what Councillor Runge is saying, and that's not the spirit of what was asked of Finance or FSAC on October 15th. The spirit was this was a surplus vehicle that was going to be replaced because it's 10 years old, and this vehicle could still have some usable life serving our fire department. So if that's the spirit of the ask, then wouldn't it stand to reason that in the future, they would not get a brand new truck to replace that truck? They would get another surplus truck that has served its life in public works and could still serve time in our fire department. So perhaps that's a policy discussion, but in the spirit of what you're saying, Mr. Mayor, let this proceed. Obviously, I've made the motion. I support the motion. But it does beg perhaps a revisit of the policy in this specific case with how we use surplus vehicles.
Thank you. Before I go back to Councillor Runge, I'm in full agreement with that. I think that this is an innovative solution to a problem. Councillor Runge.
You are correct. It is an innovative solution to this problem. But you guys are all incorrect. We are adding a vehicle to our fleet. Plain and simple. We're moving this vehicle. If this vehicle still has life, why are we replacing it right now from another place? We are adding a vehicle. And in the spirit of this, I'm okay with this, but we have to be absolutely crystal clear that going into our discussion when we do fleet replacement, that we are looking at maintaining or doing something with our fleet that we're not keeping on adding in. 7 years ago, we came up with a fleet policy to redo our fleet. Now we're letting things slide in. 3 years from now, this will be another vehicle. So the way it stands now, I can't support it. I can support the spirit of it. I can support it as a one-time thing. I just cannot say it's going to be an increase in a fleet. That to me is just adding to a budget that we have not actually discussed yet.
Well, may I suggest that if this used vehicle has been deemed to be excess, then wouldn't that speak to the fact that we may not need to replace that vehicle with a new vehicle? I mean, we have the capability of moving vehicles around. I'm going back to Councillor Vic.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, my choice of words there is probably not accurate. Surplus is not the right word. The vehicle is, due to its age, due to its kilometers, is due to be replaced as per our fleet policy. So at that moment where it is going to be replaced, I suppose at that moment it is surplus. But this was not an extra vehicle floating around not being used. It's due to be replaced as per our fleet policy. So at the moment that is enacted, that policy is enacted, that vehicle immediately becomes surplus, normally to be sold. In this case, we're suggesting, recommending that our fire department gets to use this vehicle as they've demonstrated a need for it.
Okay, now I'm going to go to City Manager.
Yeah, I think you're all right. So it's a matter of just clarifying what's going on here. So I just want to go back to the spirit and intent that Councillor Vic articulated earlier. So what this vehicle is really being used for is to help our volunteer firefighters in South Quesnel be able to muster and respond to fires quicker, because they don't all have the training to operate the larger vehicles. So this actually is helping to improve our operational efficiency at the fire department by extending the life of an existing fleet vehicle. So it is true, we do not have council direction at this point in time to veer from our existing fleet policy. So staff is going to follow the fleet policy around replacement of any vehicles. So this one was going to be replaced. So the question came up, hey, could we use a pickup to solve this problem at the fire department? It's a novel solution to use an existing vehicle that would have been auctioned off anyway, as per Councillor Vic's point. To Councillor Runge's point, technically, it does mean that there is an increase in the number of vehicles in our overall fleet, but that does not necessarily mean at this point in time that that vehicle would actually fall under the existing fleet policy. That is for council and ourselves to review, because the fleet policy right now is based on what we had previously and maintained. The fire department's never had this extra vehicle. So it's not determinative yet that if this thing were to be transferred to the fire department, and let's say the engine blows in 6 months, that we would automatically replace it to $100,000. If the engine blows in 6 months, we'd have to come back and say, well, do we replace it or not? So it does. So while it is an additional vehicle, that's true. At this point, we actually haven't determined where it would fall, whether or not the fleet policy would apply to this vehicle. That would be determined through budget process. So I do feel, coming from an administrative perspective, you're able to do both things here, which is support the fire department's request and what FSAC has approved, while also making the point, hold on, we need to see how fleet policy will be reviewed through this budget process and whether or not it will apply to this vehicle.
Well said, thank you. Okay, Councillor Runge, and then we've got to move on.
Yeah, no, I hear you guys loud and clear. I'd like to add to this recommendation, just so it's clean on this, for me, is that we approve the temporary addition of a squad vehicle to the fire department. That way, this will come back for a discussion in the future. We'll follow the intent of it, but it's going to be temporary until we have a discussion about it.
Okay, so you're making an amendment, and I don't see that substantially changes the intent of the motion, but I've got to get the approval of the mover and seconder. Or do we do that with a separate motion to amend and then have the motion as amended? So, Councillor Runge, I take it that you are moving an amendment to that motion to put the word temporary in there?
Yes, so that it reads, the Financial Sustainable Audit Committee recommends that council approve the temporary addition of a squad vehicle to the fire department.
Okay.
Fire department fleet.
I'll go with that. Now we need a seconder. Are you discussing or seconding?
Both.
Both. Okay, so you're seconding, and now I'm going to you for discussion.
Okay, thank you. I asked to speak a while ago, or I wouldn't speak up. I think Councillor Runge's point is good, and we did beat the heck out of this one at FSAC. But I think and I'm okay with this as far as it being temporary, but I think it's got to go back to PABCOM, and we've got to take a look at the policy on it, because basically what we're following now is 10 years and they get replaced. So that was my question too, was, okay, what's the vehicle's shape? Does it really need to be replaced? So I think we have to dig into the policy, but at this point in time, I'm good with the recommendation and seconding it.
Okay, so we have a mover and seconder for a motion to amend the base motion. Are we ready to vote? All in favor of the amendment? Opposed to the amendment? Okay, that motion is carried. Now I will call for a motion to approve the motion as amended. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, I think we are finally done with that one. And I must say that was a good exercise, because I mean we all agree that we need to dig in on the fleet policy, and that sort of perpetrates further discussion. I'm going back to you, Councillor Vic, for the rest of your report.
Perfect. And my final recommendation is for the 2025-2026 committee meeting schedule that Finance and Audit Committee recommend to Council the schedule as posted for the Finance, Sustainability and Audit Committee. I'll move that.
Okay, move Councillor Vic, seconded, who's? Oh, Councillor Elliott. Good. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. While we're sort of in the mood for FSAC and particularly finance, I'd just like to make a little bit of a comment here that might sort of evolve into maybe a long-winded comment in some of your eyes. Just like the weather forecast changing, we can feel our economic forecast changing. Indicators of predicted economic change create uncertainty.
I'm sorry, point of order. What is this? Is this just a statement about our financial futures? Because it really doesn't fit into anything that we've got on the agenda here, Mayor.
Okay, then
So-
I will save it until the end of the meeting.
Okay, because it's kind of out of order right now. I mean, you can disagree with me if you want, and I can challenge the chair, but I think it's out of order.
Well, I will wait until the end of the meeting if that would make you happy, but I'd just like to...
Mayor, please don't use words that make me happy. It's about how the meeting is run, and I believe it is out of order. So if
Okay.
you would like to do it at the end of the meeting, that is your prerogative.
Yes, we will do it at the end of the meeting. Okay. Now we are going to go to, one moment, I got to go back to my mother agenda here. And we are going to October 16th, Accessibility Chair Summary, Councillor Runge.
On a happier note. All right, yeah, so this is the report from the Accessibility Committee on October 16th. So we did have Director Turner. She engaged in preliminary discussion about the land use planning documents and how to make them more accessible to a larger crowd of Quesnelites. And so they reviewed the land use bylaw, the official community plan, zoning bylaws, development application procedure bylaw, and just for a lot of people it was just, hey, what is this? You know, giving an overview. And it's a great, of course, I think Councillor Elliott already spoke to this, but on Thursday we have the big meeting and gathering of information from our Quesnel citizens. It'd be fabulous to see as many as possible there from 2 till 7 here. So Accessibility Week, we have every year we run a survey during Accessibility Week, and so we shared the results of the survey during the meeting, and they were fairly comparable from 24 to 25. And we also agreed that during the next survey we're going to try to distribute more physical and electronic copies to all different groups, so that we're actually getting the widest input possible from all the stakeholders. We summarized our accessibility plan, and we updated it to, with it, it's going to be updated to either include or remove pages that may not be necessary. There have been some changes that have occurred, and we're also coming up to getting new members in the committee, so we want to wait until we have the new members so the right names are in the report. We had a committee quorum issue that pushed this meeting from the 9th to the 16th, where we didn't quite get a quorum. We had a lot of participants there, but not all of them were committee members. So what we're asking today, there's in our terms of reference, we are going to be asking to change the total in the terms of that a total of 5 committee members, including the chair, shall constitute a quorum, so that we can move forward, even if we have maybe 8 or 10 people there, but only 5 committee members. This is also the time when we have to reconfirm committee members. So we discussed the process as how new committee members should be recruited or added, and we agreed that an open request should be sent out to the community for anyone who is interested in joining this accessibility committee that's now has its terms and references in place, and we're moving forward to hopefully make some changes. In this committee, we have a parking lot with a whole slew of different types of things. There are some things that came to the forefront, and the reason we're bringing them up today, and by the way, a lot of them are already, they've been taken care of, or maintenance is already looking at them, but anything that might become a budget item, we thought it'd be best to get to you as council here, that if there's a financial implication, that it's considered while we do our budget in the next month or two. So there were a few points there. Sidewalks of concern, so the lack of pedestrian-controlled lighted sidewalk at the intersection connecting Laborde Park to the Quesnel Info Center and the Gold Pen and the Rocky Mountaineer. The narrow sidewalk ramp at the intersection of Kinchin and Carson and Caribou Highway 97. The unaligned paint on the painted sidewalk at Kinchin connecting BC Ministry of Children and Barkerville Brewing Company. Sidewalks in West Quesnel that have possibly a 4-inch with a 2-inch drop to ramp access. It's very difficult for a wheelchair to go down without hitting the concrete or the pavement in front of it. And accessible ramp access is needed at a bus shelter on Maple Drive across from the Quesnel District's Rec Center. Anyway, so there's no recommendations, it's really FYI, and then other than the terms of reference that we're going to be referring you to, and I have a black and white copy, so it's on page, I think, 20 of 60.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Runge. Any questions coming out of that one? Yeah, go ahead, please.
Just for clarity there, Councillor Runge, your last point, an accessible ramp is needed at the bus shelter on Maple Drive across from the Quesnel and District Arts Rec Center. Maybe we got the road wrong.
I don't actually think that's Maple Drive.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm just looking at that, but good catch there. But
I live on Maple Drive, so I'm like, I don't think it's there.
It's not Maple Drive. It is North Star Drive. North Star Road. My apologies. I should have picked up on that one. Yeah, and it's just not straight, so when they can't go down to get to the bus. And a lot of this it's been forwarded to maintenance. They're looking at things already, so it's, there are, the city's always trying to do something, so it was just if nothing had happened, we just have to think about it with regards to budget implications. Anyway, so with regards to the voting quorum, if you guys are okay with that, we're going to, make the changes. So I guess I should have a little motion to change the majority of members. It used to be the majority of the committee members, but if we had 14, then it would be 7. So we're changing that to a total of 5 committee members, including the chair, shall constitute a quorum.
Okay, we have a motion seconded by Councillor McKelvey. Are we all in favor? Carried. Now,
thank you.
Did you have something further, Councillor Vic?
Actually, Councillor Runge answered my question in my mind. You forwarded this to Public Works already, so they can analyze it, cost it out? Okay.
Okay, good show. All right, the next item is on page 22, 23, and that is the October 21 Public Safety and Policing Committee Chair Summary. It's up to me to report that summary to Council. And 1 minute. And that's on page 22. I found it. The Public Safety and Policing Committee met on October 21, and the purpose of this report is to provide council with the highlights of that meeting. The homeless count. The committee reviewed and discussed at length the Quesnel's 2025 homeless count, which was conducted on April 2. This point-in-time count provides a snapshot of people experiencing homelessness over a 24-hour period. Past counts reveal steady increase in homeless numbers from 121 in 2020 to 127 in 2023 and 131 in 2025. The four-page report breaks down those numbers to compare sheltered versus unsheltered persons, as well as comparing numbers of Indigenous versus non-Indigenous respondents, in addition to an assortment of related statistics and information. And I have included the web links for the homeless count. Also looking for a recommendation. I'd like to have someone move, I guess I can move it, is the 2026 meeting schedule that is shown in the report. January 13, April 14, July, August as needed, and October 13. So if I'll move it. Councillor McKelvey is seconding. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you for that. Now I go to more council reports. So I've got two in a row here. I have highlights from the Friday, September 12 meeting of the Caribou Regional District Board. And September 4th and 5th Committee of the Whole meetings were originally scheduled to be held at Alexis Creek, but they were canceled due to wildfire activity in the area. Also, the Caribou-Chilcotin Regional Hospital District authorized a request from the West Chilcotin Healthcare Society for a grant to purchase replacements for AEDs, which stands for Automated External Defibrillators. There's a referendum coming up on November 8th for the 150-mile House Fire Hall referendum. Also, there's on Indigenous Relations Framework, the board endorsed a draft Indigenous Relations Framework, which outlines commitments to strengthening relationships with First Nations community. And also, the board approved a policy that will enable live streaming of Caribou Regional District and Caribou-Chilcotin Regional Hospital District meetings for a trial period of 6 months. Once in place, this will allow residents to watch meetings live online, improving public access and transparency. And I will say that I campaigned on this and for having live streaming of City Council, so be watching this one carefully. Also, I'm going to move to board highlights for October 6th. The Bushy Lake Community Wastewater Feasibility Study was reported on, and it's moving ahead. The McLeese Lake Transfer Station, they authorized the installation of a second waste bin. Community Futures Caribou-Chilcotin grant for assistance. There was a grant for assistance that was approved to support our Future in Agriculture event. Forestry Works for BC Society presentation. We had a presentation from them, and also from the BC Energy Regulators, which is the old Oil and Gas Commission. We had a presentation from them. So that concludes my report. I'll open the floor to any questions. Councillor Elliott.
Thank you. Just on the question of the live streaming, it's going to be trialed for 6 months, but was there a mention of the cost on that?
I don't have it. I don't think it was very substantial, but their system is a lot different than our system, and I think that they're able to introduce it at relatively low cost. And also, I think as part of their upgrades, they've recently upgraded their entire system, so that upgrade may have been included in that move. So I'll check into that. Well, I'm going to be monitoring this very closely, so I'll be coming back to council to discuss this idea further. Okay, thank you for that. Now we go to city staff reports, and this is Admin Report 9525, City of Quesnel Comprehensive Fees Amendment Bylaw 1978 of 2025. First three readings. Director Bolton to report.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to review with council the recommendations for fee updates that will be effective January 1st, 2026, and then to proceed with the first three readings of the City of Quesnel Comprehensive Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw No. 1978 of 2025. So these fee increases are to keep up with inflation and other cost changes affecting our services, and of course to make sure that we have the capital funds available that we need for projects in the future. So I've given kind of a summary of what we've done. I'll go through it. So for building fees, sorry, I'm losing my voice. The only update is an update to the surcharge for construction without permits. So this just means when someone starts construction without a permit, they'll have to pay double the building fees. Water utility fees. So based on the recommendations from the recent infrastructure master plan that we did last year and inflation, we're recommending that water fees be increased by 3.5% in 2026. So this is $11.04 for the single family dwelling. For sewer utility fees, again, based on our recent infrastructure master plan, we will be increasing these fees by 3%. So that's a $9.68 yearly increase for a single family dwelling. For garbage fees, there is no increase in the garbage fees this year. We're just going to update the language to reflect the fact that the fees that we collect for residential garbage fees cover not only the cost of the garbage collection, but also the landfill fees at the landfill. So we've broken it down so that people can see how much the cost is actually for the residential garbage collection. It's $69 for us to do that biweekly, and then the other $61 is actually going towards the landfill fees, the cost of the landfill. So for landfill fees, last year we increased most of the rates by $10 a metric ton. So this year we're only doing a few minor adjustments to reflect the cost of the more time-consuming waste categories. So that's demolition, land clearing, and construction waste. We're increasing it to $140 per ton from $120 per ton. This is also to help encourage people to recycle more, to sort more, to take a look at what they're dumping at the landfill. And also animal carcasses increasing to $70 per ton. The museum fees, we did increases last year, but we didn't increase the school fees, so this is just a small increase to the school fees this year. Corporate services, the only increase is the city pins, just to bring it up to the actual cost that we're paying for pins these days. Cemetery rates, just because mostly this is people costs to do all the work out there, we're raising the fees by 4.5% on the service rates. And airport fees, we're increasing by 2% to most of the rates. So that is all the increases, and the schedules are attached. So the recommendation is that council proceed with the first three readings of the City of Quesnel Comprehensive Fees and Charges Amendment Bylaw No. 1978 of 2025.
Okay, thank you for that. Before I go to questions and so on, I'd like to get a motion on the floor for first and second and third readings. Councillor Vic, Councillor Runge seconding. Was that a hand up for?
Well, I want to ask a clarification first, I think.
Okay, let's get the motion on the floor. So, okay, Councillor Elliott is seconding. Now you can go with your question.
Thank you. On page of the report, it's for 15 of 20 for you. For us, it's page 48 of 50. And I'm normally not a person who wants to raise costs here, but I'm just not sure if staff research assisted cost is still current at $15 an hour is covering our costs of that research. So it's 15 of 20 for you, or 48 of 60 on your report. It's 15 of 20. Under education?
Yeah, it's just staff-assisted research, so it's just assisting it. So this is the fees that the museum manager has recommended. So I don't think that's her full-time, she's just assisting. So that's why if it's a full commission research, it's cost recovery of wages.
Okay, so we're paying her to assist someone else to do research?
Right.
And we're paying her $15 an hour? Or we're paying her, let's say we're paying her whatever.
We're paying her whatever, yeah.
Putting it whatever. I know it's going to be higher than the 15. I just think that 15 is a little bit too low if we're for staff-assisted research. I think it should be, you know, throughout here, when we do city stuff, on other ones, it's $35 an hour. I'd be okay with 25 if I don't know what the assistants are worth, but I don't think we should, as a city, should be funding research of some external party. It should be cost recovery for, like, I don't mind it being cost recovery or whatever it is, but 15 I think is too low. So that needs a star, I believe.
I can review that with the museum manager, but it does say in the notes that it's just to provide an orientation, retrieve material, and make copies, but the researcher's working independently, and it's up to the discretion of the staff to charge a different fee. So, but I can review that one with her and get back to you.
Thank you. And otherwise, thank you very much for the report.
Okay, but we've got a motion coming to approve this. Is that something that?
It's for second and third, so if there were some changes, she could make that, I think, right? No?
No, once we do the 3 readings, we'd have to go back in readings. So I'll look into this. If we find that we need to, I don't even know how often we charge this. Like, I don't know that we use it very often. So let me research it, and then we can bring an amendment separately from this main bylaw.
Or we make a change right now, because if I'm up the public and I look at these, if I look at the sheet, it says, hey, for $15 an hour, I can get staff-assisted research. So maybe this is just negotiated.
I'm going to go to city manager, and then I have a comment as well.
I would just recommend that we don't pick a number at the council table without it being informed by staff research. So we either pick one of 2 paths here. We either approve as is based on staff recommendations and the discussions we've had with the museum manager. She has informed this, and there is discretion here to deal with it. Or, as Director Bolton says, we pass this, and then through her supplemental research can bring it back as a supplemental to the bylaw at a future council meeting. So those would be my 2 recommendations. One of 2.
Yeah, good guidance there, because I was going to say that I'm under the impression that it doesn't get used that very often. And also I've seen instances where someone would come into the museum and ask a question that required staff to look something up very quickly, which they did, and that was done at no charge. It was, just complimentary. So I would leave it, and let's see what staff has to say to sort of defend their recommendation. So seeing no other questions or comments, can I call we do have a mover and a seconder. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you for that, Council. And so now we're going to go to Admin Report 9625, Union of BC Municipalities Community Emergency Preparedness Fund, Volunteer and Composite Fire Department Training and Equipment Grant, Quesnel Fire Department Composite Ropes and Confined Space Operations Trainer. Intern meets to report.
Thank you. The purpose of this report is to gain Council's approval to submit an application for the Union of BC Municipalities Community Emergency Preparedness Fund for a volunteer and composite fire department training and equipment grant. We are requesting $21,663.84 from the fund to increase the capacity of the Quesnel Fire Department by training firefighters in 2 courses, the Ropes Rescue Awareness and Operations course and the Confined Space Rescue Technician course. If successful, this grant will cover 100% of the course fees and there will be no cost to the city. The recommendation is that the Council support the application to the Union of BC Municipalities Community Emergency Preparedness Fund for the volunteer and composite fire department training and equipment grant to secure the funding of up to $21,663.84 for the Quesnel Fire Department rope rescue and confined space operations training, with the city's commitment to provide overall grant management. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Pretty straightforward. Councillor Rudenberg, Councillor Runge, you're not asking a question this time? Oh, what a relief. Okay, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you for that. Council information package, I haven't seen anybody coming forward with any requests, so we're clear to go on that. Under bylaws, we have bylaw number 1973, final adoption. This is permissive tax exemption. Moved by Councillor Elliott, seconded by Councillor Vic. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next one is, again, permissive tax exemption for nonprofit, rather, and that's bylaw number 1974, looking for final adoption. Councillor Elliott, Councillor McKelvey, all in favor, opposed, carried. Thank you. Oh, and there's one other one. Didn't we do the readings to bylaw number 1978? So, okay. So we're all done on bylaws?
Can we just have a question?
Go ahead.
You always fly through these things so quickly that we really don't have a chance for a question. 488 McLean Street, just a question, since, can I go back since it's been passed? Because he flew through it so quickly, Mr. Mayor, with your indulgence, can I have a question with regards to bylaw 1974?
Okay, so you're asking about 488 McLean, which is...
Well, no, I can't actually ask that because we've already passed the motion, but I did want to have some clarification.
Okay, so you're going to staff?
No, I'm going to you to ask if I can ask the question.
Oh, of course, yes.
Thank you. So 488 McLean, that 50%, is that they rent part of the building, is that correct? So is that their portion of the building? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. That was close. I thought I was going to get ruled out of order. I'm just kidding.
You're this close.
In a couple seconds.
Very close. I know my limits now. Okay, so where are we at? We don't have any new business. We don't have any changes to meeting schedule. We don't have any changes to committee appointments. Now, I guess would be the time that I introduce my little statement here on I'll just move right into it. And as I was saying earlier, just like the weather forecast changing, we can feel our economic forecast changing. Indicators of predicted economic change and uncertainty due to things like inflation, global tensions, an ongoing and worsening trade war with the U.S., our biggest trading partner, and now additional tariffs, most significantly. And this creates clouds of uncertainty. And also the effect of, or I guess the unknown effect of AI on supply chain and labor. The message is that we must, and as I have said in my campaigns, we must work to sort the fluff from the stuff. Being around all the years that I have, I will say that, and I've shared this with Councillor Vic as the chair of our Finance and Sustainability Committee. We're into budget, and I really feel that we're into the most challenging time that we've ever encountered. I just want to change course a little bit here, and this is why I sort of brought this forward, because there may be some urgency to this, and this came out on Global News at noon hour today. The BC government is inviting the federal government, representatives of the ministerial federal government, to a hastily called BC Forestry Summit. Forest Minister Ravi Parmar is inviting the feds and industry. I'm sure we would agree that affected communities such as ours should be included. I'd be very happy to jump on a flight to Victoria, Vancouver, or wherever. In fact, why not right here at Forestry Ground Zero, home of West Fraser's roots and home of West Fraser's head office. I'm not looking for a motion here. I just want to put the idea into your system there that if they're going to have a forestry summit, I think that the communities that are adversely affected by the changes and the uncertainty that I alluded to at the first part of my little spiel here, I think it's important. So unless anybody wants to, jump in and add to that, I'll just leave it open. Okay, I've sold. Go ahead, Councillor Elliott.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I just have a question about procedure, because I don't disagree with your comments, but for example, if we want to get questions from the gallery, no one's allowed to speak to a topic unless it's actually on the agenda, and this isn't on the agenda, so my question is about procedure. Would we be allowing people to speak to your comments here now, or because that's not...
Well, that's a very good question to say that it wasn't on the agenda, and that's why I tried to bring that discussion forward at when we were having the FSAC discussion, because obviously this relates to budgetary decisions and budgetary discussions. So I think, yeah, we can sort of say that it's not on the agenda, but I'm...
Okay, if you don't mind, I think just in the future, you've got something prepared. You could just ask for a late item to be added. And then that way it's on the agenda, and then we don't have the possibility of getting into the mud a little bit with questions that we're not ready for because it's not on our agenda.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but this all came together late this afternoon when I was at home watching global news, and I thought, holy smokes, you know, they're talking about meeting with federal ministers and provincial ministers and forestry executives, but what about the communities that are affected by this? That's all that I was trying to do. So pardon me if I'm out of order, but that's just the way it is. Okay, is there anything further before I adjourn? Are there questions from the gallery? No, and it said there's no changes to anything. So I will now entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Vic, seconded by his backup, Councillor Runge. All in favor? Opposed? Carried? Oh, go Jays, go. Thank you.